Wookie bartenders 20%, Droids, Spinanners, no Ray Lows, no Ray Nobodies, none of that garbage. We were mocking the Evil Dead of Raylo earlier today, and it was fun. And one of my actually rather popular video. I hope I poked the bear just a little bit, because that's why I do things like this. Anyway, want to talk a little bit about the video about JJ Abrams and John Constantine, etc. that Andre, hey Dave, and Tom put out from Midnight's Edge. Now, we've been talking about 20%, 22%, 20% differences. Has a lot to do with money. But their video, which I strongly suggest you go and watch. Okay, just a second, I'm gonna fix this. Is this better? I think this looks better. Okay, yes, it does. Good evening, everybody. I love my chat. Before I get into this, how is everybody doing? I hope good. Anyway, let's get into this. So the guys at Midnight's Edge put this video out, and basically they were talking about Star Trek and how JJ basically tried to bully CBS into not selling. Oh, I'm doing great. Just some other guy. I am, and I've got wine. It's good. It's French. It's a Bordeaux. Anyway, basically JJ tried to bully CBS into discontinuing the OG Star Trek figures and merchandise, and they were like, "Fuck off and die, kid." And he failed at that. But when he got to Star Wars, and Bad Robot got involved, of course. When you looked at the Falcon, and it had that stupid fucking rectangular sensor dish on it, that wasn't part of the story. Okay, just hold on. And I know, isn't it? And 3PO with his left arm, the red left arm, that wasn't part of the story too. They had to write it in. You want to know why? Because he did not want to use George's designs, characters, etc. So, and he could sell a red-armed 3PO, a rectangular dished Falcon. Yeah, that's to be fair, but I think Han would have insisted that it get replaced with a round one. Okay? I don't imagine him telling Lando, who I'm pretty sure he would have sent out, you broke it, you bought it. Okay? I'm pretty sure Lando would have had to go out and find a dish approximating that thing, that dish that Han had on there. I mean, that sensor dish, Han actually put on there himself when he was improving the ship. Okay? So that thing meant a whole hell of a lot. So what Abrams did was change it just enough to make money. Yeah, he did. I mean, not a scratch. And Lando, can you imagine Lando landing the Falcon with 9 nub, and you know everybody's hungover the next morning, and Han comes out of their hut, and he is like kind of disoriented, and kind of looks back, and Leia's just laying there. We're not going to talk about what was going on in there. And he pulls his shirt on, tucks it into his trousers, and goes over to where Chewbacca's sleeping and kicks him. I want to see what happened. I want to see the ship. I said no scratches. Lando's like, I'll find a new one. I swear to God, just exactly like the old one, which is probably what he did considering the Falcons always looked like that. Till JJ Abrams got there, and JJ Abrams thought, I want to make money, so I want the ship to be mine, so we're going to change this. And that's what they did. I've got a mini Falcon with that fucking rectangular sensor dish on it. I think the thing is not that they could have changed it, not that Han could have said, all right, that's a really good one, it's brand new. Oh, it is. What'd you do to my ship? I said, what'd you do to my ship? Leia walks out, she's in her robe. Oh God, she goes back. I don't want to know about it. Kind of like what I would do. Jerk off Abrams. Damn right, Maze. Damn right. So when you watch the video, you're going to understand why Sandman sucks. Okay? You're going to understand why there's a Joanna Constantine. Because he doesn't want to spend the money on a John Constantine. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with JJ being woke. It has everything to do with, I want to make the money on this. I'm not sharing. Which is why this live is called Greedy Motherfucker. Okay? That's true, just some other guy. But if you look at everything and how literally undervalued and underutilized the original trilogy characters were. I mean, you know, they were going to pay Harrison Ford a lot of money, no matter what. Okay. Turns out, this is just brand new and I'm going to do a video on it, that he really did say, I am regretting now being killed so soon in this. Now, it doesn't, when Larry Kasdan quoted him, he doesn't go into why. I know why. Because Harry saw the way Mark, look, my dog, my castrated male dog, has more balls than Mark Hamill does. Mark Hamill, when he's playing Luke Skywalker, bravest guy in the universe. Mark Hamill is not, okay? Mark Hamill's not going to go up to, Ryan Johnson and say, Alex, I'll go back on it for you, Mike, and say, I don't like what you're doing to my character, and I'm going to sit in my trailer till you fucking figure this out. Harrison Ford could do that. He could. Okay. Fuck this shit. He just to look at Carrie and say, I don't like this shit. And she would look at the script and say, neither do I. Mark, I don't like it. Okay, we're leaving. And that's it. They could actually stage a 3-down strike and end all the bullshit. But Mark, no. Okay, so here it is. Midnight's Edge put a video out about JJ Abrams fucking up Sandman. Now, I am not a fan. I remember my brother Jim liking the original, I think it was part of this, the original Constantine when I think Keanu Reeves played him. I watched it. I thought it was blasphemous. So I stopped watching it. When they brought in the Archangel Gabriel, I think played by, oh God, what's her name? Tilda Swinton. I'm watching it going, so now we hate God. Okay, this makes sense. Well, that's not the point, just some other guy. The point is, it's disrespectful, okay? It's disrespectful. It's fucking disrespectful. And all because JJ Abrams wants to make money. Yeah, he did. But he waited till after the show was in the can. He didn't walk into Bob Iger's office with the script for TFA with Harry and Carrie saying, we don't like this. This is bullshit. This is disrespectful. Now, they would have gotten a lot of bullshit about money and licensing, and they would have said, we don't care. Okay? You want us in this? You're going to do it right. You're going to do what George wanted to do. It's, again, if it's true, and I believe it, that every time they use an OG character or a prequel character, he gets, oh, that's okay, just some other guy. George gets like 25%. It's another thing, okay? And look, Bob Iger is just as big a greedy fucking prick as JJ. JJ, this is JJ. He's a politician. He's Chuck Schumer. Okay? He'll sit there and let you think he's the biggest fan on the planet. But he's not. Because we've seen it. I mean, TFA was a shithole. And Larry Kasdan, I would have said, that's really nice, Larry, but we're going to go with what George wants to do. And we're going to add some other stuff to it. You know, how specs change and everything. Okay, so, all right. So if you want to be part of it, fine. Oh, hi, Andy. I don't think I've ever seen you on this. So hi, how you doing? But Kasdan was a problem because he didn't care. Again, what's the hallmark of something really beautiful that's a piece of art? Hi, Andy. The artist loves what they're doing. They put their lives and their health on the line for it. George Lucas with the original Star Wars. Okay. They put everything of themselves into it. Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's inactive now? Or he's just not making videos? Nerdonymous is right. And here's the problem with that. Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson just took what JJ did and pissed all over what he did. I don't, okay, just Mike. And I blame all three of them. I blame Bob Iger. I blame Kathleen Kennedy for saying, Bob, I made a promise to George. This is terrible. You can't do this to Han Solo. You can't do this to Luke Skywalker. The fans are going to revolt. Gee, you think? And Star Wars isn't a franchise by Twitter account marketing. Okay? And I would prefer we do what George wanted to do and do it the way he did the original trilogy. You bring in a good director, here's the script, and you change it as it goes, which is exactly what he did. When you hear what The Empire Strikes Back was when Lee Bracken wrote the original script, it's like, I mean, she was a great screenwriter, but she had cancer, she was dying when she wrote it. Okay, so it's a little bit, and they bring Kasdan in, and Kasdan, of course, had George standing over his shoulder, and Irv Kirchner, they're like this over him. The only way Larry Kasdan works well is if he's got George Lucas or Steven Spielberg standing over his shoulders, or both of them. Because Larry Kasdan, honestly, when he's writing something, believes he's God. Okay, and no. All right, once you get to a place where you've got a popular franchise, and if Mazarus is still here, You'd agree with me. You have to consider what the fans would want and what would work and make people happy watching it. So he wanted to kill Han off. No. And they did the carbonite thing because Ford was being recalcitrant and whimsical. And he came back. Okay. And then he wanted to get killed in Return of the Jedi because Larry Kasdan just could not figure out what the fuck to do with him because, you know, um, I would have said, George said it right. Kids are not going to buy dead Han Solo toys. He's right. And it's a fairy tale. We needed a happy ending. So, too bad. So sad. Okay. And to be honest, I don't think Harry's aware of the EU. Okay. And I don't think he's aware of that origin story. Because if he was, he'd be like, what the fuck is this? Pointing at Solo, a Star Wars story. What the fuck is this? George is always right. Because he knew what he wanted to do. He knew what the fans wanted. And to be honest, if you're creating something and you're not a fan of it, then you shouldn't be creating anything. Okay? The problem with JJ Abrams is he's not a fan. Kathy is notoriously not a fan. Iger is a greedy motherfucker. And Rian Johnson is, the kid in high school who always did shitty things and would laugh. That's him. He's not a bully. He's kind of a loser. He pissed the jocks off and they'd stuff him in a locker or pants him. But that's Rian Johnson. Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many great things that story could have been, but because they didn't want to pay A.C. Crispin's estate, why would they do that? Okay, they didn't. I mean, it's just it's all about their fucking greed, and I know that Bob Chapek is going. Can we talk? Can we have a conversation? It wouldn't have cost us as much to actually do it right as it is right now. And that's the truth. If you pay the money up front and make it worth it, you're going to get the receipts back and you're going to be happy. Okay? You're going to be happy. And that's it. That's all it is. You've got to put the fucking effort in the Quan into it. And they didn't want to. And this is what we've got. A dumpster fire. Okay? Here's the difference between Adam Driver. Adam Driver will never carry a franchise. Harrison Ford is 2 franchises. 3 if you think of the Jack Ryan stuff until they decided not to pay him any more money. And then it failed fucking miserably. Okay? Think about it. If you dance with the boy that brung you, you're right, Dave. If you dance with the boy that brung you, you will. Well, he's, and that's the thing. I'm literally like, but damn it, Maze and I were talking about that a long time ago. And now with this Joanna Constantine, she's standing there in a church with a high altar, and JJ Abrams is a Jew he's probably a liberal Jew who doesn't go to temple. It doesn't understand anything that the imagery. Here's the deal. If you're going to do something that's based on Catholicism, you better be fucking real familiar with the imagery. High altar. That's pretty obvious. It's in the center. It's up there in the center of the church, and you see it. And there's the tabernacle behind it. Then you go a little forward, and there are communion rails with a little gate. That is a cathedral. That is what I'm a traditionalist Catholic. This is what all churches should look like, by the way. And the artwork, you should have Mary and Joseph. The cross should be above, and then the the dove, the Holy Spirit. There should be other saints. You should have a rendition of Saint Michael. You should have Peter and Paul. You know, that's what the churches used to look like. Ours, at least they put the tabernacle back in the right spot. But I won't talk about it. But it's a long time, and we've got a lot to fix. Okay, but I saw a photograph of Joanna Constantine standing in front of what looked like the high altar in the tabernacle, and I was like, oh God. This is why you need somebody saying, no, get her out of there. Unless she has got the juju to go there, get her the fuck out of there now. It just doesn't make any sense. And again, it's Joanna Constantine. And why? Because they don't want to use John Constantine because money. And that's why Star Wars sucks so bad now. Okay? That's why, and I love The Mandalorian. We got 5 minutes of Luke Skywalker. Okay? And, good half hour of Luke and Boba Fett. They'll mess him up, just Mike. They'll mess that up. They'll mess that up. If you've got people who aren't Catholic or don't respect it enough to actually study, William Friedkin isn't Catholic. Look how great The Exorcist is. Greatest horror movie of all time. It is. And he kept the central truths of it that William Peter Blatty put in there. There you go. All right. But, I wouldn't trust JJ as far as I could throw him. And he's a skinny little shit. I could probably throw him, and that's not saying a lot. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about, so third point, hedge fund. Story in there in both Deadline Hollywood and Variety. The guy who runs it, Dan Loeb. Oh, The Exorcist is one of the greatest movies ever made, Dave. Dan Loeb, who's the CEO, he has like $4 billion to his name, so he's not a chintzy little bitch. Basically said that Disney should spin off ESPN and sell it. And then invest itself into Hulu and put Hulu and Disney Plus together. First off, that's very nice, Mr. Loeb. Thank you for sharing. But Disney's makes a ton of money on ESPN and sports. Okay. And I think that is literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, this guy made his money on going and fixing mismanaged companies. Oh, he is playing games. So, I'm like, no, you're. I can't imagine Bob Chapek saying, I think it's a good idea, we should do that. No, not going to do it. ESPN makes more money for Disney right now than Lucasfilm, which I think is a travesty. But that's Kathleen Kennedy's fault, and Bob Iger's fault, and JJ Abrams' fault, and Ryan Johnson's fault. Okay. and anybody who thought we should do the High Republic, and they could have dinosaurs and diversity, But I thought it was interesting because what he does is he looks at companies' debt. And the thing that got me on this was he's looking at Disney's debt. Now, what have I said about their debt? How much corporate debt did I estimate? 70, was it 50 some billion dollars in debt after buying Fox. Then they started borrowing when the coup hit. 11 billion here, 11 billion there. You got what, $59 billion? Now you've got $71 billion. Then you got $81 billion. Then you borrow another billion, you got $100 billion. Okay. They are in debt badly. And this is why I think he said that. Now, do I think it would be a good idea to do that? No. I think, if you really want my opinion, merge Pixar with another animation company, buy that and sell Marvel. Sell Marvel. They've got all this shit coming out. Sell Marvel to Universal or Paramount. The reason why I say that is this. Superhero movies are on the downturn. All right. Top Gun Maverick is probably going to replace Avengers Endgame or Avengers Final Count, whatever the fuck it is. Number 6 all time. Okay. Big effing deal here. Okay. If it does, everybody in Hollywood's going, so actually making movies that people want to go see will make us money. Okay. Wow. Did that just suddenly make you go, oh? That is what I'm looking at right now. No, I am not a financial analyst. I would, you know what? I could see Tom Cruise saying I think that would be a good idea because I think, isn't Tom Cruise an investor with Skydance? I could see him saying this is awesome. But I would look. When I think of Disney, I think of fairy tales. I think of medieval imagery, fantasy. I don't think of superhero shit. So when I think of Disney and Marvel, it doesn't make sense. Disney and Lucasfilm makes sense because what is Star Wars? Fantasy and science fiction. What is Indiana Jones? Fantasy, science fiction, and adventure. Okay. So I'm like going, and Pixar, hey, you know what? Fix it. Fix it. A personnel change, you gotta do is find the right guys. That's it. That's all you gotta do. But as far as Marvel, I would say, hey, you know what? The time is right. Do it. Get it out of here. Just make it. Just do it. And the reason is simple. You be making money. You be able to put a little on your debt. You know. Oh yeah, Get John Lasseter back. Well, if you've ever seen Bob Iger, he's about that big. And as far as I'm concerned, every time I look at him, he is a princess. Okay? God knows what underwear he's wearing underneath those shiny Italian suits he wears, but, probably frilly lace panties. I don't know. But, yeah, we don't want to be just a girls' company anymore. Oh, wait, we have to make it all girls. So I honestly think if they want to spin anything off, it would be Marvel. They'd make a lot, and I think they make more money off of getting rid of Marvel than ESPN. All right. This sounds like a game this guy's playing. And I looked at his Speedos. No. I mean, I think Bob Iger probably wears women's panties. He's probably got a bra underneath it too, underneath his shirt. But as far as like, oh God, now what I was going to talk about. Like, fuck. Anyway, shit. Now I forgot what I was going to talk about. It's just Marvel would just be the easier thing to get rid of. It doesn't make any sense. And personally, I don't think Walt or Roy would want that shit to be part of the Magic Kingdom because there's nothing magical about it. I don't like the superhero stuff. The only one I ever liked was Superman, and I did like the Dark Knight stuff that Christopher Nolan did because it was real. But I've seen a couple of videos about what Marvel Endgame was really all about, and it chilled me to the bone. All right. That's why I don't like it. All right. I look at it and go, this is bad juju. No. It really rubs me the wrong way. It is, I'll tell you something. You know what works better with Disney? Tolkien. Tolkien would work better with Disney. You got little furry creatures running around. You've got knights in shining armor. You've got bad guys. You've got magical women, queens and fairies and elves. And why not? I know why. J.R. Tolkien did not want Disney anywhere near his stuff. Even back then when Walt was alive, he didn't trust him. Now, I think Walt would have done a tremendous job with The Lord of the Rings and with The Hobbit. I don't think the people now would have. Because when you look at Lord of the Rings, the first trilogy, and I went to it with a hippie friend of mine, the first one, and I mean there were some parts. I grew up with it. My dad would read it to me, and I would read it, and there are a couple of parts where I could hear my dad reading the words, and they're on the screen, and I was laughing my head off and crying. And I did like The Hobbit, even though it wasn't as good as it should have been, but Warner Brothers got involved, and they got greedy, and what happens when people get greedy? They fucking forget what they're there for. JJ Abrams, on the other hand, was never there for the fans, never there for George, never there to do the right thing by the actors. Okay? Anybody who calls him the next Steven Spielberg, I want to punch. Spielberg never would have done that. He didn't do that to George. All right, look at Raiders. Okay? Look at Temple of Doom. That movie gets shit, but it's still a great movie. Look at Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Even Crystal Skull. Steven did not ever fuck George Lucas over. Okay? And if he would have been, I'm going to say this, George wanted him to come in and direct the prequel trilogy, and he said no. And I think the reason why is because he knew George's vision may not have gone with what he thought the show should be, which is fine. Okay. I look at this and go, they needed someone who cared, and no one cared. The only people who cared on the set of The Force Awakens were Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Peter Mayhew, Kenny Davis, and Anthony Daniels. Okay, no one else did. I mean, Christ. Even my favorite thing about Gina Carano, and I'm gonna piss people off, was when I think she kind of intimated that she had never really seen a Star Wars movie. Want to know one of the reasons why I hate Callista Flockhart? I'll tell you. Watching, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel Live. She's up there because she's got her face all like sucked up, and she's talking to him about when the landing ramp of the Falcon came down and broke his foot. So they called her and said what happened. And he said, well, what'd you think when the Falcon, blah, 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 the Millennium Falcon? And she's like, I didn't even know what it was. The bitch is talking about the Millennium Falcon. I don't care if you've never seen a Star Wars movie. If you were alive between 1977 and 2015, you should know what the Falcon is. Okay? And if you don't, I can't talk to you. All right? I'm looking at her going, I would have gotten up and left. I would have said, fuck this. I gotta go. This woman's a moron. What do they talk about? Okay, so I'm sitting there listening to this, and I hear Gina Carano, kind of like Star Wars, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and you're right. Just some other guy. Gina Carano's the same thing. She didn't care. I'm going to tell you something. If I had gotten a chance to play that role, knowing my politics, which are way more radical than hers, I never would have said a fucking word. And my husband would have said, don't you say anything, don't you say anything, don't you say anything, don't you say anything. I might have even gone as far as putting pronouns. No, I wouldn't have a Twitter account. All right? Wouldn't have a Twitter, wouldn't have an official Facebook page, wouldn't have an official Instagram account. That's what you do to avoid the shit she went into. And then she wouldn't stop it because I don't think she wanted to be there. Okay. I don't think she wanted to be there. And fine, she made a movie, a Western, Terror on the Prairie. I haven't seen it. I'm not spending the money for a Daily Signal account so I can watch it. Okay, I'm not. Okay. If it gets out to the theaters someday, maybe I will. But that's it. And you want to know why this happened? Because she was told to stop, and she didn't. Okay? There's a way to survive in Hollywood till you get to the point where you can be fuck you like Kurt Russell is. I'll say whatever the fuck I want, and they can't do a fucking thing to you. And she likely never would get that high. All right? That's my problem with her. And the people that constantly follow her around and kiss her ass piss me off. And trust me, you'll go back to when all that shit went down with her. I was one of the first people screaming and yelling and ranting and raving. But I'm done. I'm done. All right? I'm sick and tired of indulging people's mouths. Well, here's the deal. Napoleon said, when your enemy's making a mistake, don't get in their way. Let them make it. We're seeing the Democrats do that right now. We're seeing Liz Cheney do that right now. And Gina did it. Now, do I think that last meme that she posted was anti-Semitic? No, it wasn't. I posted it myself. It's not. I'm also very well versed in Holocaust history. I've been to all the camps. I've been to, no, it was Napoleon. I've been to all the camps. I've even been to Auschwitz. Okay. I think I fucking know what I'm talking about when I said that's analogy. And she wasn't talking about the Jews. She's talking about you motherfuckers who are too unaware to understand you're acting like the people you say you hate. Okay? I mean, look, May sent me a thing about Minneapolis, the Minneapolis School Board teachers basically making it so the first teachers that get fired are white. Nuremberg laws. What happened? Jews were fired from teaching jobs, from medical jobs, etc., etc. What is that in Minneapolis? Yeah, I mean, and you're right. I don't think she wanted to live in Rome. And I really think that she knew it, didn't care. Anyway, I've been on for 41 minutes, and I'm about ready to pack it in right now. I'm gonna watch TV. Like my t-shirt. See? I love it. My favorite t-shirt. So, you guys have a good evening. But keep your eye on that Dan Loeb thing with ESPN and third point, I think it's called hedge fund. Very weird that the rags ran with it. Variety and Deadline. I think that, Chapek will go, that's nice, and go on his merry way. All right, but you guys have a good evening, okay? And Midnight's Edge, Toxic Femininity is on. I'm gonna go watch TV. So I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe, and fuck JJ Abrams, that greedy motherfucker. Now I know why, even more why, The Force Awakens sucked ass.